Hello, now it's time to implement our third mini lab, that is to calculate the class average grades. So let's think before we implement. In the class average program, for example, like what kind of variables are we going to include? For example, okay, we'll have to have an instance variable that is set to calculate everybody's scores, right? So we can get it a name like total. And we will have to include another instance variable to count how many students we have, right? Okay, that is, we say, a counter, right? So the main logic is that while the grade counter is less or equal to our class size, right? So we will prompt the user to enter the next student's grade. And once we input the next grade, we will add the current student's grade into the total, and then we will add one more to the grade counter. Once we have done with the iteration loop, and we will set the class average to the total divided by the total number of the class size, right? And that is the logic. How can we print and calculate the class average? So once we have make out the logic to calculate the average, and then it's time for us to implement. So let's create a Java class file. We say it's class average. Average. Okay, here. And then let's implement the main method psvm. Within the main method, let's first create a scanner, right? I guess you have already pretty familiar with this statement. You put new scanner and parentheses system dot in, right? And we should include a total and a grade counter, right? So let's declare int total, and I think it's supposed to be a double. What if they are decimal point? Total. And we should declare a grade counter int grade counter, which is equal to 1, right? And let's set the class size is equal to like 10 or maybe 7. So our main logic is that while we didn't count, reached the grade counter has not reached to the maximum of the size. We will do iteratively addition and additions to the total and additions to the grade counter. So here, let's see, while grade counter is smaller than the size. I think I just changed the grade counter from 1 to 0, but I think it's better for us to set it to be 1, starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's much better than 0 to 6. In this case, it is smaller and equal to the size. We have 7 people. And in the while loop, let's first give a prompt. Please enter the student's grade. semicolon, and then let's remove the new line so that we can append our user input grade immediately after the semicolon, the column. And let's assign the user input grade to the grade. It is a temporary grade, as we are going to add all the grades together. It is not reasonable for grade to be an int, but let's first set it to be an int. Once we have fetched the grade for each individual student, okay, we may make it more clear. And let's add it to the total, right? Total. As we have mentioned that the assignment is reading from the right-hand side, from the left-hand side. That means the total, firstly, plus the individual grade, right? And then we assigned the whole value. We assign the result from the selected expression to our existing total. That means we are updating the total. And the same thing happened to the grade counter, but we are not plus the individual grade. We are just plus 1. That means, okay, one more student has been counted, right? So that is the main while logic to calculate the total grades. When the grade counter is above 7, so that means the Boolean expression is no longer satisfied, right? So the program will no longer execute the while loop. So after the while loop, we are going to calculate the average. So here we can declare a double type instance that we give it a name average, and which is equal to the total divided by the size, right? We can change the size, but we have fixed it initially here. And then let's give it a prompt. So let's printf the number. We have a new line. Let's print a new line first, and the total of all grades is %d. Let's get a new line here and here. Let's firstly print the total. And after that, let's print out the average score. So average of all grades is %d. So here is supposed to be the average. In this case, we can print out every information that we have touched, right? Okay, let's run it. So please enter student's grade. Okay, students 1's grade, let's say it's 50, 630, 80, 60, 40, 50. Okay, I have to have a 90. Okay, there's some problem. Okay, let's see what happened. So total of grades is exception in the main Java. D is not equal to double. Okay, I see. The total is not a D because total the total is a double. I don't think there's any problem. Oh, I know. I think I should include the decimal point in the user input. Okay, let me try it again. So please enter the student's grade 10. It is still not correct. Oh, I see here. I set the total to be double, but I set the individual grade as an integer. That means, okay, they are not compatible without conversion. So the best fixed solution is that let me change it to double. So in this case, both individual grade and the total are double type. And I don't think there will be any more further issues will occur. So let's try. I'm sorry that I cannot implement the things correctly at one time, but this is computer science. If you make anything wrong, just correct it. All right, it is still problematic. Okay, let me see what happened. I wish it is a live session. So usually I will ask students to help me to find out the bug. But now I have to find out the bug by myself. Okay, oh, I see here. D is for the integer. So for those double numbers, we should using F. And we can set a format like 0.2. That means we only keep 2 decimal digits after the dot. So let's have another try. So please enter the student's grade 65.20. Well, it is still problematic. And if I cannot using my eyes to find out the bugs, I will using the debugger, but that will be a little bit difficult for you. So I will try my best to find out the problem. Oh, here, next int. That means if I change the type for the individual grade, so here I should also update it to the double type. Okay, then let's run it again. So let's type. Okay, congratulations. It seems that, okay, we are working now 80.00, 100.00, 55, right? And the 68.5, 98.4, 65.9. Okay, and it displays that total of all grades is 524.80, and the average is 74.97. Awesome that our code is working now. So let's go through our code again. So our problem is that we firstly didn't set the total and the individual grades as the same type, right? Initially, we set the individual grade as an integer, and that arises our first bug because we are adding double with the integer. So actually, it is allowed, but it will arise some invisible problems. The second problem is that here, after we change our individual grade from the integer from double, we didn't change the input method from the next integer, which only reads the integer rather than double type. So only when we are change the next int to next double, the scanner, which is the instances, which is the input instance, can read the user input correctly. The third problem is that when I was using the placeholder, I use the percentage D here. Actually, D is using for a placeholder. Percentage D is a placeholder for the integer type rather than the floating point number. So if we are using floating point number as float or double, we'll have to using the percentage F to format the output. And that is the 3 bugs I wrote in this short piece of code. So it's a valuable experience for us. So I hope that when you are implementing this code, you will not make the same mistake as I make. So good luck to you. And that is the end of this mini lab. If you have any questions, please post the thread in the discussion board and I will reply to you at my earliest convenience. Thank you for coming to this week.